Bachelor look like he needs some help. Looks like you would make the Bachelor on TV look like he needs a makeover. So,
give me a break.
So if you're a young lady out there, call in. I'll introduce you to him. His name is Justin, 298-5487. I'm a business coach, not a life coach. And what I do is I help businesses make more money. And I've been doing it for about 20 years now, and I love doing it. But I'm not a life coach. What life coaches do, Justin, is they get into the weeds of your personal life, your background. They try to help you make adjustments. A really good life coach allows you to come to the decision-making process. A lot of people are so tied up in knots. They cover things up. They hide. They hide from themselves. And truthfully, they wind up sabotaging themselves. And so the title of the show today is Why Do People Struggle? That's what we're going to talk about today. My very special guest, she's now becoming a cast member because she's been on before. She's very, very good. She's in Austin, Texas, one of my favorite cities in the United States. Her name is Megan Toll. If you go to Megan Toll, TULL.com. So, Megan, welcome to sunny Southern California. How are you, my dear?
Hey, Coach, I'm great. How are you?
Great. Love to hear that cute little voice here. So let's get right into it. Why do people struggle? Great question.
Yeah, I love this topic.
Yeah.
I think there's a number of reasons why people struggle. One is they have a belief system that holds them back and essentially sabotages their success and prevents them from reaching their true potential. So this obviously is a negative belief system that they were either brought up with or have developed through certain experiences in their lives, or even just the culture we live in seems to be, such a negative catalyst for a lot of folks. So, it's the belief system, and I also really believe that if you don't truly understand the unique value of what you offer and the gifts that you possess, then, you don't have the confidence to present yourself or to serve others with those gifts. So I think it's a combination between those two, not having a strong belief system or a positive belief system and not truly knowing your unique value.
Great open. You listen to KHTS right here in Southern California, 1220 AM, and I'm dedicating the show today, Megan, to a gentleman that I love, truly love. His name is John Ranty. One of my best friends, lives back in Chicago, Illinois, and I don't get to see him very often, but, when you have a true friendship, like we met in Vegas here a few weeks ago, we just pick things right up, and we talk on the phone 3 or 4 days a week. So he's listening back in Chicago. Big shout out to you, John, and it's my birthday tomorrow, so he sent me a wonderful birthday gift. He never forgets he does, and we'll talk about it a little later, but he's always on top of the little things. He always remembers the little things. And, if you're building a relationship, ladies and gentlemen, those little things add up, don't they, Megan?
They sure do, and happy birthday to you. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and, you have time to overnight me a gift, and if you have to go into debt or rob a bank or whatever you have to do to get me a great gift, I'm okay with that. So
yeah, I'll get right on that.
Get on that. So why do people struggle? That's our topic today. My very special guest, Megan Toll. You can go to Megan Toll, TULL.com. So, Megan, let's get into this a little bit. Your beautiful son, Cameron, just got a great scholarship to the University of Texas. He was raised without a father. Obviously, you did something right. Here's a kid that is going to go in the ROTC, and someday he's going to represent our country. But and my producer's a young man, and as I said earlier, for you, a young lady out there, and you want to meet one of the most handsome young men in Southern California, just call in 298-5487. I own a dating service called DateJustin.com. So
He's not lying either.
I'm not lying either. So I'm not lying about how handsome you are. Megan, how did you get your son to turn out to be such a young man? What did you do right as a mother? Were you there? I mean, when he came home from school, did you have the milk and cookies for him? Did you set guidelines for him? Or did you make him accountable? Did he have a job? Or was it his just DNA? I mean, half of me today believes, all of me believes that everybody has greatness. Just what you said. I believe everybody has gifts. But what about DNA? What if your DNA, or what if your circumstances, like Cameron, fatherless? How does this work today? Especially in California, half the families are fatherless, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I really think it's a combination. He was born, I don't know if you know what an old soul is, but Cameron was always an old soul, very mature and wise beyond his years. So that definitely is DNA. But what I do take credit for as his mother is, giving him all the love and support each and every day, but really encouraging him to follow his passion, no matter what, and stay true to who he is. So he has really become an amazing leader over the last few years, and he, beats to his own drum. He has his own set of values and the things he believes in, and he was the kind of kid who, even at a young age, would stand up for the kids that are getting bullied and go and confront the bully and say, hey, why are you doing this, and protect that kid. And that's not something that I really ever taught him exactly, but I do believe
he must have picked that up somewhere. I mean, I'm going to say
that he could stand up for what he believes in, and don't worry about what other people think. And I think that is, the foundation and the basis that we can teach our kids. That they're always so worried about what everybody else is going to think about what they do or say or what they wear, and to let them be able to think for themselves. And know that the right people who are supposed to be their friends will be attracted to that and want to be their friends because of who they are.
I think I have 3 daughters and a son, and I think it was harder. I love where you're going with this thing. That somehow your son Cameron somehow avoided, sidestepped, climbed over peer pressure. But peer pressure is such a dynamic thing, such a depressing if you think about it. I have a granddaughter in the 7th grade. Now, she happens to be good looking like I am, and popular like I was, and sweet as can be like I am. But, she tells my wife stories about bullying. I mean, she's very communicative to her parents, my youngest daughter. But I hear these stories every week about bullying. I hear stories every week about kids who maybe dress a different way, or overweight, or a little shy, or this or that. This is terrible, and I wish I should have run for office. I want to apologize to everybody in Southern California that did not run for president, because I think in my first 100 days, I would do something to work with the educational system. I don't know where we go with this thing about bullying, but your son was lucky to have you. I'm going to say that he was lucky to have you as a mother. But kids who grow up like I did not have a father. I was a foster kid. Justin, I don't know where you got lucky along the line, because I know you've had some struggles along the way, but I had a chip on my shoulder. I was a fighter. I got lucky in school. I was an athlete, and the only reason I got through school is because I was an athlete. The coaches protected me against the teachers, but back in my day, they used to swat us. I don't know about Texas, but, Mr. Tunick, they'd say, bend over, grab your ankles. They'd hit the you-know-what out of me. Talking to Megan, told everybody in KHTS, talking about why people struggle, and Megan said, if your belief system isn't solid, you're going to struggle. If you don't understand your own gifts that have been given by the Lord, you're going to struggle. So let's get into this belief system. If you don't have extraordinary parents, or a mother like Cameron did with you, and as you and I chatted this morning, I think schools, my son's a school teacher, Megan, and he told me, he said, Dad, I got 35, 36, 37 kids in my classes. I don't have time to give individual help anymore. He said, I'm babysitting these kids. And in the LA school system, I can't talk about Austin, but the classes have 40 kids in them. So, how do you get a solid belief system? Where does it start, Megan Toll?
Well, as parents, I think it's our responsibility to start developing that at a young age. But, it is never too late either. We were talking earlier, some people, they have a negative belief system which really dictates their decisions on a daily basis and will ultimately, reflect their success. So, but the good news is you always have the ability to shift your belief system. But, the belief system dictates our thoughts, and our thoughts will create feelings, right? So when we have certain feelings because of negative thoughts that we may be having, those feelings of maybe fear or frustration or stress or anger, these feelings really will put us into a negative state of being and will essentially paralyze us. And, all of a sudden, when you're operating from this negative state of being, your creative mind shuts down, your mind narrows, and you are no longer able to tap into your problem-solving skills. Again, you're in essence paralyzed, and you're stuck, and you're unproductive. So the key here is to not just ignore that those feelings exist. They're not going to go away, but to acknowledge and welcome those feelings and, concentrate on those feelings and understand why they're there and where they're coming from. And when you focus on these feelings, they become lighter and lighter. And sometimes it's a little bit more of a process for some people versus others. But if you focus on those feelings, they begin to dissipate. And then you can shift your thoughts onto what it is you'd actually like to achieve. What is your desired outcome? And you start thinking about that, visualizing that, and the new feelings will show up to support that. Feelings of joy, peace, abundance, happiness, and then all of a sudden your mind starts opening up. You can tap into that creativity, tap into the problem-solving skills so you know what the next best step to take is. You start attracting opportunities in your life that are going to support your goals, the people in your life that are going to support you in your goals. So it's amazing how you can shift into that positive state of being just really based on what you're focusing on.
So true. Yeah, so true.
That's something I really believe in and something I teach.
Well said. I'm talking to Megan Toll here in Southern California, KHTS 1220 AM. Justin's doing a great job producing the show as always. I'm your coach, Coach Tunick. Go to CoachTunick.com. So our subject today is why people struggle, and I'm going to challenge you on a couple things, but I like everything that you said because it's true. The laws of the universe and the laws of attraction really work. So what you put out there, you're going to get back, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what I would say, Megan. Young people don't get exposed to people like yourself. Young people, first of all, don't have money to hire a Megan Toll. They're not listening to the radio, and their parents are preoccupied with doing drugs, alcoholism, divorce, social media. I don't know what's going on, but kids are being raised by social media. This is a horrible situation, and again, I apologize for not running for president because I think I could have done something about it. And you would have been my VP, so I know we would have done something about it. No question. So the issue becomes exactly what you said. You put it out there. If you put negative feedback out there, if your negative state of mind, exactly what Megan said, you're going to get negative thoughts back. And so how does a young person who's 18, 15, 21, how do they get that mentor? How do they get inspirational messages so that they know that there's a different world out there, that the negative world that they live in isn't working for them? So they turn to drugs, they turn to pornography, they turn to alcohol. I don't know what they turn to, but I see in Southern California a lot of kids in a lot of trouble. So I'm going to shut up and ask you, how does a young person find you? How does a young person find that mentor?
Well, that's just it, and I believe that this is one of the biggest challenges that we have in our society is there isn't enough education in this area, the area around mindset and, really going after your dreams and knowing that you have everything you need to be successful and being able to, tap within yourself and be able to find that value and share your gifts. So unfortunately, there is not enough education out there teaching these things. And unless somebody, gets to the space where they're hitting rock bottom and they're at their wit's end, or, they finally realize that this isn't working for them and they seek out help, that often is the reason why these children struggle so bad. So, getting more involved with the education system in terms of teaching these kids, about mindset and how powerful your mindset is, and being able to, follow your dreams and be passionate about what you're doing. I think all of these things need to be taught.
But they don't. The thing is, they don't think the way you and I think. I think you in Austin, me in LA. Maybe I could start something in Santa Clarita where I start, and I won't charge anything. But maybe Justin and I get 20 or 30 people your age in a room. I don't know. Let's talk about it off the air. But maybe that's how, because they're not gonna. They don't listen to us. They can't find us. Justin, jump in.
You have brought that up before. We do need to find a way to change something in our education system for young people.
It's not going to happen because it's such a lousy political body. But let me say this to you, Justin and Megan. We just talked about belief system. Before you have to go, Megan, let's talk about your gifts, because, Justin, young people don't believe they have greatness or gifts, and they don't love themselves. Do you love yourself?
I struggle with that on a daily basis. Some days I do, some days I don't.
Yeah, so you have to start with loving yourself. And Megan, talk about that for a few minutes. I know you've got to leave and go off and do a big speech. How does a young person who's 21, 22, struggling with loving themselves, how do they do that?
Well, again, I think it goes back to, really uncovering what their gifts are and their value. Your unique value comes from your God-given gifts and talents. It comes from your experience, your education, your values as a person, your characteristics. Those develop obviously over time and will become more and more established as you get older. But, being able to talk to your children about what it is that they enjoy doing.
No, but I'm talking about 21. I'm talking about a 21, 22. They don't have time. That's the problem. These kids can't find jobs. They have a loss of self-confidence. I know. I interview these kids, and they don't even interview properly because they lack self-confidence. And when you lack self-confidence, that goes deep down into the core of your self-esteem issues. So how does a 20-year-old, 21-year-old going to college, scared to death? I asked Justin before the show started, I said, is your age group struggling? He said, absolutely. I said, what are you struggling with? Getting their financial stuff together. They live from literally day to day sometimes. So something's not right in our society, Megan Tull.
Yeah, again, the foundation needs to be developed as a child, and that support system needs to be there, and the encouragement, letting your child know that they can do whatever they set their mind to, and then just, honing in and, really being able to develop those skills, as a child, and encouraging them and getting them involved in organizations and sports and music and things that they enjoy, things that they're passionate about. And then, assessing, okay, what have you learned? What are some of the gifts and the skills that you've developed, throughout your career in school, and, build off of those. I think a lot of times, especially I've seen this happen with a lot of college students, they go for degrees that they feel, would be the degree that's going to pay them the most money, or, oh, that seems to be the most popular route, and, I can get the most jobs going that way. And so they choose their career path based on what they feel they need to do versus what they want to do.
And then they're miserable. Then they're miserable.
And those are the people that you and I talk to, 30 years down the road when they're like, wait a minute, my whole life has been wasted doing something I don't even like doing.
Yep. Well said.
I think it's encouraging your children to do what they love and help them develop those skills so that they are confident. Because if you're connecting with your passion and your value, you're going to be the most fulfilled, and that's how you're going to make the biggest difference in this world.
Well said, my dear. I know you got to run off. You can keep listening to me on our app. We have the best radio app in the country. If you go you have a Droid or iPhone? iPhone, perfect. Go into the App Store, download KHTS 1220 AM will pop up. KHTS, so you can listen to the second segment while you're driving to your big fancy talk that you're going to give. Megan Tuller's the name. Go to megantull.com. We're going to come right back, and when we come back, I know you're going to be getting in the car, but I'm going to tell everybody where M&Ms came from, how M&Ms came about. I'm going to talk about relieving stress, because what happens, Megan, you know this, is if you can't manage your stress, we all have stress. Stress is not a bad thing. It's distress that causes pain and anger and frustration. So if you don't understand that process and you don't understand how to manage your day-to-day life, then life's not fun. And managing the good, bad, and ugly, I'm going to talk about that when we get back. All right, her name is Megan Tull, and she's a life coach, megantull.com. We'll see you on the other side of the break on KHTS 1220 AM. The show is called The Business of Life.